Form or long form Facebook ads perform better, and which is better for your business? Today, I'm going to let you know and walk you through which one you should choose when you sit down to write an ad for the first time so that you can get the best results possible. So if this is the first time joining one of my lives, I'm Brian Czekanski. I help mom-focused businesses crack the code on Facebook ads so they can scale their business and cut their work hours in half. So I'm actually going to give you a non-answer because it really depends on your business, what industry you're in, who your audience is along the way. So I'll walk you through in just a second why that is the case. But it's one of those things that you should test along the way. A shorter form Facebook ad, maybe a couple of lines, longer form ad. I'll get a little bit more detail into what might be the best fit for your business, what might be the best approach to kind of start with along the way in doing that. So let's kind of get into just the details here. So there is common, like for certain businesses, it's going to make more sense to do a shorter form ad, kind of get, just sharing my screen here. I'm going to show you a couple examples as well, but let me just start here. This is kind of a chart that I got from Derek Johansson from Copy Hour. It's a great copywriting program, so I'll just enlarge it here. It kind of just shows you kind of the evolution of the audiences that are out there. And obviously when you're doing Facebook advertising, more than not, nobody has ever heard of your business before. They have never heard of your offer. So you see on the right-hand side kind of that unaware audience. But obviously for certain brands, they have more awareness. Their brand, their status, they've done advertising for a long period of time. Think about those top brands that are out there, Coca-Cola, Apple, all those kind of things. They're so well known, even when they're doing Facebook advertising, they're over on the left in terms of the most aware, and they have really a differentiated product. Think about the iPhone 13 that just came out. Again, doesn't have a bunch of new upgrades. I think it has a better camera, and that's kind of the biggest upgrade, but it doesn't have a huge amount of improvements versus some of the prior versions. But again, all Apple has to do is say, we've got a new version, and they already have an established base of consumers that are ready to upgrade right away, regardless of what the features are. So again, those are kind of the two polar opposites. You kind of think about those big brands that are most aware, even on Facebook. If you put an ad in front of them, most of the audience will know who they are and be able to buy right away. And you see on the right-hand side, more unaware. And on the bottom here is kind of the idea, how that kind of matches up with all the categories up here. So again, you think about like, maybe nobody has heard of you before or your business before, so you have a little bit more work to do. So that's where kind of a longer form ad might make a little bit more sense. And kind of the additional wrinkle that I throw in here, and I didn't include it on this chart just because it makes it a little bit more complicated, but like, what is the sophistication of your audience? Have they been going through that same problem again and again and again? I mean, think about, like areas like personal development or weight loss, where you have a large group of consumers that have kind of struggled through the same problem. They've been on a search for solutions for a long period of time. Nothing has worked. So they're super skeptical about any type of new solution that's out there that is promising new results because they've been through such a long journey of not getting those results. So their level of their sophistication, but also they're just their hesitancy to actually take on a new offer is really important to think about as well. So kind of tying that unaware to also kind of like, what is their level of skepticism? If they see your offer and you're in kind of a saturated market where a lot of the empty promises have been out there and nobody's been able to deliver on results, then you've got a lot more work to do. And that's where, again, kind of a longer form ad might make more sense because you have to emotionally connect with your audience. You have to kind of show the power of that transformation, but you also have to prove why your unique formula is better than everything that they've tried in the past. So again, they've gone through this period where it's just like, okay, I've tried to lose weight. I've tried to kind of clear my mind and make it calmer, but nothing has worked. So like, why should I believe you in that same instance? So again, that's where it makes more sense. You can kind of see that story type of approach makes sense. A longer form ad where you have to hit that see more button makes a lot more sense. You can see as you go along. So, and this is where the audience as well. Think about, I just did an ad for a relationship coach. So there she was kind of talking about the blind spots for a lot of these women that she was advertising to. So a lot of times they don't even realize the problems that are getting in the way of them, finding the man they're looking for in this instance, or same thing in the weight loss area. Maybe there's a certain thing that is holding back the audience. And then once they learn that secret or that blind spot, that's the thing that takes them over the hurdle. So that's where you really think about like the problem aware, like, is your audience even aware of what's holding them back potentially? And how can you tap into that? And that's where you can get into things like a proclamation or a secret, maybe a little bit shorter of an ad, and talk about and use curiosity to really get them to that next landing page or sales page where you can really build up that curiosity, build up that secret to the point where they make a purchase or get on a phone call with you, those kind of things. And then again, as your awareness builds up, as you do more and more advertising and you become more well-known within your audience, especially if you're within a specific niche and you've kind of really built up your authority, your success stories, that's where people get a better idea of what the solutions are that are out there. And eventually they get to know your products. And that's where, again, it makes a little bit more sense to just put out a specific promise or a specific offer. So there, it makes a little bit more sense to just have maybe 1 or 2 lines. And again, I can show you this, if I go to Nike's Facebook advertising that they're doing right here. Again, if you look across Nike's Facebook ads, they're not going through and doing longer form Facebook ads because they don't need to. They've done decades and decades worth of advertising. Their products are proven. They're at the leading edge across these various different sports. So they don't even have to, put out a specific product they're selling right here. They can just say, ready to take your game to the next level, get the gear you need to take the court. So that's very much an offer lead where you're just saying like, okay, here's how to get some more of our basketball stuff. Here's how to get more of our soccer stuff, because it's already proven. It's already got that brand quality. It's already got that brand awareness. There's not a lot of work that you have to do. It's just a matter of like, okay, here's how to click. Here's how to kind of take the audience by the hand and do it in that way. And then again, it's even, another example would be like, okay, how can I use maybe like a celebrity in this instance? Maybe the brand isn't well known, but how can I use some of that celebrity or influencer status to get that click as well? So here was a recent one that I saw. It was a fitness app. And based on the ad, it talks about how it was inspired by Chris Hemsworth's biggest results. So it's actually owned by, in this ad right here, it says it's Chris Hemsworth fitness app, and it's actually run by the team that helps him train on a daily basis. So again, just using that celebrity status of like, if you've seen Chris Hemsworth and you want to look exactly like him, do I have to put a ton of Facebook ad copy in there? No, I can just mention that this is the app that kind of follows Chris Hemsworth training program. I can put a video or a picture of Chris Hemsworth kind of working out and kind of showing the results that he's been able to get. And that takes, if you click through this ad, it goes straight to the App Store where you can try out that app right away. And again, they have a free trial, 7 days free, kind of taking away all that risk that is out there. So again, those are just 2 examples kind of on that short form side of, okay, can you use some celebrity or influencers or kind of social proof to really get people, a shorter form ad to get people moving forward? How can you use that notoriety or popularity that you might have out there, especially if you're more of within a specific small niche and you are the biggest fish within there, it makes sense that you'll have a shorter form ad or a very distinctive product that really sticks out. You don't have a ton of competition. You have a product that is well known. It sticks out. It's the one everybody wants. Just a matter of kind of putting a few lines in there and saying like, okay, here's how you can purchase, here's how to get it, those kind of things along the way. But let's take another example on the other side. Like, when does it make sense to use a longer form ad? It's really when it's a more skeptical audience where it's a lot more saturated. So this would be a coach. So Jordan Wright. Again, this is just an ad that came through my news feed just in the last few days. He's a productivity coach that helps out entrepreneurs get results that they're looking for, avoid procrastination, imposter syndrome, all those kind of things. So within his market, he's one of thousands, if not hundreds, like if you think about the entire world, probably tens of thousands of coaches that are out there. It's a completely saturated market where consumers are looking at all these different options, and a lot of times competing on price with a lot of them. So again, he's becoming a lot more of that indirect approach. He's using a story to catch his audience's attention. He's actually not putting an offer forward right away. He's telling a story of one of his client success stories, Kate, talking about her transformation, her problem before, where she was kind of procrastinating a lot. And a lot of fear was getting her in the way of using that action, and uses her as a testimonial and hoping that that builds an emotional connection with you and that you're going through the same thing, and that her transformation really gets you to the point where at the bottom of the video, you can book a call with him and then move forward on a sales call or things like that. So you can see how, this is much more of an indirect approach. Longer form ad takes a lot more work before you're even ready to get on a call with him or purchase from him, those kind of things, because again, like, you have tons of different options. You have tons of, you have a high degree of skepticism of like, okay, Jordan, I'm not sure that you can help me, but he's using a story as a way to really connect with you. He's hoping that Kate Kate's story really resonates with you, and that's where you're sitting right now. And Kate as a person is probably representative of the ideal customers he's looking for as well. So all that to say, like, short form or long form, what does it make sense? Again, it really depends on your brand. It depends on your audience. So really take that into account. If you're in a more saturated environment, if you're a weight loss coach, if you're a personal development coach, any kind of those things, and you're not specifically niching down and getting really specific about who your audience is, and you're not really becoming well known, you haven't been advertising for a while, that's when you have to do a lot more work within your Facebook ads to tell a story, really connect with your audience, capture them emotionally, and tell that transformational story and really describe what's unique about your formula. Because again, with a lot of these problems, they have gone through solutions in the past and they haven't worked. So there's a high degree of skepticism, and you kind of have to get them over that wall to do that. So to do that, you have to have more text within your Facebook ad to kind of go through those and kind of check those boxes for people to get them to your landing page, sales page, webinar, whatever it is. But again, if you are well known within your specific niche, you built up your brand, you have a distinctive product, you have a distinctive service that is getting rave reviews. Maybe you're a big fish in a really small pond. It makes sense to just have a couple lines to do that going forward, build up some curiosity, maybe just tell people like, okay, here's how you can exactly, work with me as well. Maybe you've been, maybe your business is just so full up that you haven't been available for new clients for a while, and you can put out a new Facebook ad saying like, okay, now I have X number of spots, come sign up here. And your audience really already knows you, and they respect your expertise and those kind of things. That's where it makes sense to have some shorter form ads along the way. But again, something to test out. I talked about split testing the other day. Always test if you have an ad that's really working well. Maybe test out a shorter form ad and see if it performs better for your specific audience. It really depends on, what has been your audience's journey in kind of coming up to your Facebook ad, and what other solutions have they tried? What are those problems that they're looking for? And how distinctive is your offer or your service as you go along? Really keep that into account as you think about your Facebook ad length as we go forward. So with that, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.